haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
Ebony and ivory come together in harmony. Medium popcorn. Put some chocolate.
I am black. You are white. Life's an Eskimo pie. Let's take a bite. It was groovy thinking, Lincoln, when you set them free. One of my favorite things from SNL.
Oh,
what's
okay.
up, guys? Justin Brown.
I was like, what is that? Brandon Collins, Medium Popcorn, spoiling movies. You know what it is. You know how it is.
Mhm.
You know all the stuff, everybody. Yeah, we're talking about Loving, the 2006 Focus Features film, directed and written by Jeff Nichols, and starring Joe Edgerton, Ruth Negga, Nick Kroll, of all people, Michael Shannon, and a bunch of other folks. And this follows the true story of the Richard and Mildred Loving case. They were the plaintiffs in a 1967 U.S. case with the decision Loving v. Virginia, which invalidated state laws prohibiting interracial marriage. So this is inspired by a documentary called The Loving Story, which their name being Loving is just so ironic and poetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just perfect. And you know, it follows this couple as they're just trying to live their life, be a loving couple, and deal with. They already have to deal with a lot being an interracial couple in the 1960s, and then they're having children.
No, 1950s. We started out in the 1950s.
The case didn't come to the Supreme Court until 1967, around that time. Yeah, and at that point they've been dealing. There was some weird time jumping where at one point Joy Edgerton's character Richard, he's like, "We've been dealing with the courts and lawyers for 10 years." I'm like, "It's been 10 years." Like, all right, you know.
I think what their son was conceived in 58. So technically, it's only about like eight to 10 years somewhere, or maybe he meant to say like close to 10 years, but I don't know. Yeah,
got it. Yeah. But we open with Richard Loving. He's a construction worker in Caroline County, Virginia, falling in love with local Mildred Jeter is her name. And I get it. Ruth Negga is a beautiful woman. She's black and Ethiopian. She's Irish and Ethiopian.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you know,
I gotta say the casting that they did for this is actually really good, because she actually does favor Miss Loving, and also Joel. Actually, they did a good job coloring his hair and stuff like that to make him. He obviously he's prettier than the man that he
Yes.
but I think they did a really good with casting for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those Hollywood situations where the Hollywood casting looks a lot better than the real life counterpart and everything. You know, it also seems like Richard was a little bit older as well. Like they implied that he's older than Mildred, but like in the photo that they had, that like actually there's a lot of inspiration from like the documentary and their real life that like colored the script, like from the dialogue. That's why it was nominated for or I don't know if it was nominated for Academy Award for adapted screenplay, but it was in the adapted screenplay category because so much of the dialogue is literally pulled from like their documentary, so from their own words and stuff. But yeah, that photo that they showed at the end, where like he's laying in her lap and stuff, like it was very spot on with the cast.
Yeah, they definitely recreated it. And then there's the other photo when after the Supreme Court case ruling came down, and in favor of them having that press conference and him having his arm around her like that, they recreated that one as well. Yeah, I think they did a great job, with the art department and stuff like that. I think they did. Lots of kudos go out to them.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's the importance of casting, right? That's why I think it is like dope that like casting's being recognized by the Academy going forward, like for awards recognition, because I do think that's not an easy job. I definitely think I think Sinners is the front runner for that, just because of the discovery of Miles Cadden. Like to be able to find a young kid that can sing, that can pull off, like basically go toe to toe with the whole cast, that's like full of like vets in the game, and be able to give the performance he did. That's already like, I think, award worthy for whoever discovered that young guy. And
Exactly.
something, casting, you got to make him look pretty at some point. I don't. They try to dress down Ruth Negga. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Ruth Negga or seen her in anything
Yes.
else. I'm
Yeah.
like, you could try to make her look country bunking, but we know how beautiful this woman is. It's but Hollywood does that. It's weird, like because I just recently saw Anna Sawai from
Mm.
Shogun is gonna play Yoko Ono, and I'm like, all right. I was like,
Wait,
I'm just that's
really?
a huge glow up for Yoko. That's a huge glow up. Anyways, I don't want to speak ill of
Is Yoko Ono still alive?
yeah. Yeah, I
Hmm.
looked that up. It's crazy. Yeah, she's still out here. Her crazy
Okay.
ass son look exactly like his daddy. That's got to be insufferable, dude. Because if you think about John Lennon was already depressed, his son looks exactly like him, all mopey and shit. I'm like, even if he was happy, he looks sad. Anyways, the Loving family, they come together after Mildred reveals that she's pregnant. And Richard, what I love about this movie and what I love about this story is obviously it's an important case with interracial marriage, and we'll talk about those dynamics and stuff. But Richard, Ri- Joel Edgerton is very good at playing. I don't want to say simple men, but men who like are very devoted to the things they care about, but it's not that much that they care
Mm.
about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for Richard, he's like, I like work. I love this woman, and I love my children. I
And
love my family.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's his like North Star for everything.
Yeah.
It's like his love for his
The
work.
everyman. He plays the everyman very well.
Yeah, yeah, and so I really appreciate the characterization of Richard in this movie, just because he, he doesn't want that much. You know what I mean? He just wants to be able to live in Virginia, like with his family and friends. Um, he takes a lot of stuff in stride. He's the white boy that hangs out with all the blacks and like he's in love with a black woman and stuff like that. But he's like, I love Mildred so much. Like, I'll take any jokes y'all want to give me. But he's also seems to be a nice guy too. So that's why like I think Mildred's family embraces him and stuff like that. It's also like, I mean, this kid's coming no matter what, so we may as well make
Yeah.
this work, you know?
I think it's just also it's like, but like you said, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't see her as being a black woman. It's just the woman that he loves. And like yeah, like I think were those people that was her brother, right?
I believe so. The guy that like
The racing the drag racing cars with.
yeah. I laughed. I mean, it was great when like, he's speeding to the house that they have like out on the outskirts of Virginia.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Oh yeah, I just came to tell you that the lawyer called." He's like, "Dude, why you drive so fast, man? I thought somebody was coming." And he's like,
He's
"Oh
like,
no, that's
I
just
always
how I
drive like
drive."
this. What do you mean I
Like I
always drive
love
like this?
I mean, I don't know if that really happened, but the guy's just so cavalier. Like that's how I always drive. It's like, bro, we're dealing with an intense situation here, man. We're supposed to be living off the grid. Can't be speeding up my street like that.
I know jumping ahead a little bit, but man, imagine the fact is just because you got married to the wrong person, quote unquote, um, you have to live in exile from your state. You can't see your family and things like that. You both can't be in a state at the same time. Like that is the level of bullshit that this country operated on for a very long time. And I know people don't want to the people want to act like it didn't exist, but it's just like that shows like where we really came from, and not too long fucking ago.
I mean, and not even that. It's just like that's also where like the current powers that be are trying to prevent the country from going. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? That's what like
No,
what
they're trying to dial it back to that
Well,
point.
well, what I'm trying to say is like with the interracial mixing, right? Like that's the whole thing. Like because eventually
Mm,
it's just going to be a multicultural, multi-race like country we live in, right? And that's the
yeah.
whole thing. Like what they say by 2060 or something like that, it's going to be a white minority country.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's like that doesn't just include like one race, like one uh, ethnicity or anything like that. That's going to be probably multiple. There's so many people now that are checking the two or more races box on like
Yeah.
demographic forums and things like that. Like it's insane, especially if you get into the minutia. Like if I go off my 23andMe, like I can just do two or more races and never have to like clarify what it is. I'm
Yeah.
sure for your kids, right? They could put multiple
Yep.
races.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just the world we're moving towards. And our producer Lluvia put in the chat that this case helped pave the way for same-sex marriage. I mean, yeah, any marriage that wasn't heterosexual Anglo-Saxon, basically, this case helped
Yeah.
going forward.
Yep.
Um, which is so wild, man. Like, who gives a fuck who loves who? Like, you know what I mean? It's such a weird thing to like waste
Hateful people
energy
do,
on.
bro.
I know.
Hateful people do. I know. There's what it is. And then also, us being two men who are in interracial marriages
Yes.
is just like, yeah, it all also comes down to just like, yeah, if this shit didn't happen, you know, our lives would be much different, because
Mm.
we couldn't, we would have to, do what we do in secret, or maybe, been exiled from, a state or something like that. Like this stuff
Oh
could have
yeah.
still be going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been allowed back in Michigan for a long time based on like this case, like the situations and stuff like that. Which is speaking of Michigan, my great uncle, my nana's brother, interracial relationship for a long time, like my whole life. They have two kids, but when they first started dating, my nana used to tell me stories about them being harassed all the time as an interracial couple because she's white, he's black, and how like
Mm,
when they would drive, apparently they sometimes would go on road trips, and that's when things got real dicey because this is like
oh
around this
yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's around like the mid early to mid 60s. Yeah. So shit got crazy.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, well, I mean, obviously, people have been having sex with people from other races for a very long
Oh yeah.
time.
And the
How
genders,
legal, yeah, how
same
legal it's
genders, all that
been.
stuff.
Yeah, but like if you look at like even the first black heavyweight champion, Jack Johnson, what
Mhm.
they did to that guy, and it's basically because he had a proclivity towards white women, and they were just like, not today, nigga. And on top of the fact is that he was the heavyweight champion, and these white fighters couldn't beat him. They basically ran it. He had to go live. I think he was living in the Caribbean, like Jamaica and stuff like that. They wouldn't. He couldn't be in the United States. They arrested him and saying that he was trafficking prostitutes over state lines. Those rules were made for people like him.
Mhm.
Like, this is like, bro. Like, I mean, that's the early 1900s, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild that we're still having these conversations where it's like but it's because it took until what, 20 years ago, basically almost 20 years ago to the day that like this case happened. That this case, went through the Supreme Court and this decision was made that allowed interracial marriage to stand, right?
No, no, we're talking 60 years ago.
Yes, what I say.
You said 20.
So bad. So bad. The public school system of Ann Arbor, Michigan failed me.
Oh no! Yeah,
It's
yeah. It
20
was
years
60
ago.
years.
You were just like, "Nigga, 2000?" Like, what are you
I was
talking
like, "That's on check. That's on check."
2007? So, like, when Usher was screaming, "Yeah," he was talking about, "I can fuck these white women." Yeah.
And Usher wasn't screaming, "Yeah," it was Lil Jon, but that's just besides the
No, they both
point.
were screaming, "Yeah." And then
Yeah, you're
Ludacris,
right.
for
You're
some
right.
reason, is like, "Take that," and rewind it back. There's some songs that are so catchy that you ignore the fact that the lyrics make cuckoo banana sense. Nothing, nothing about what Ludacris says in that whole song means anything towards the song, means anything in life. It's insane.
Yeah,
It's
fair.
especially when you spend real estate on a song, just naming yourselves and the other artists in the song. Yeah, we ain't going nowhere. I already know it's
Say my
you.
name. Say my name. No, seriously, nigga, just say my name 40 times. That's the song.
So, as you mentioned, they were basically they get married, but then they find out that their marriage violates Virginia anti miscegenation.
Oh, I have no
Miscegenation.
idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to read this word. Um,
Well,
yeah,
I think the main thing that we have to highlight is the fact is that
Virginia
they
had a Racial
also
Integrity Act. That's what it was.
well,
That's an easier way to
well,
talk about it.
but they went to DC to get married,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
they lived in Virginia, which like yeah, you could go to DC and do whatever the hell you want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that law then upholds in other states.
Yeah, the DMV is weird because like they always talk about the DMV, but like it don't sound like these niggas like each other. You know what I mean? Like when people tell me I rep the DMV, and then I've been going to different podcasts recently, And like I went on one where they were like the Maryland people were like, "Oh yeah, them Virginia niggas," and then the Virginia people were like, "Oh yeah, them DC niggas." I'm like, "Aren't y'all all part of the same network? Get on the
And
same
like,
page."
is it? And DC is very relatively small. Like, what?
Well, it
That's like
got
a
to the
city
point.
block.
It got to the point where I'm kind of like, I'm thinking about the right DMV, right? Because you know how I've been mixing shit up all the time. So I'm like,
Mhm.
am I wrong in thinking that DMV is not connected? Because these niggas acting like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, like y'all hate each other. What's going on here? And I don't mean that really, but I mean when they're you talk to Puerto Ricans separately, you talk to Dominicans separately, and the other race comes up, wild shit is said. I'm just saying.
Honestly, I would have used I would have used the analogy of Dominican Republic and Haiti because they
Mm.
share an actual
Oh, I
island.
mean, don't even get me
Yeah,
started
that's a
on
whole
DR got
that's a
problems with
whole
everybody. DR got problems. I mean, we've already talked ad nauseum on this podcast about how I feel about going to DR. Like, I don't know. I know there's great people there. I know there's great culture and food, but my experiences have not been great, especially as a person that looks like everybody there. It's fucking nuts. It's so crazy,
and
dude.
they walk up to you, hey papi, how you doing?
Like, I felt in DR the way that I guess country white guys must feel when they come to like New York and like the liberals are like shitting on them. They're like, I look like you. Why you treating me like this? It's like, uh,
I'm not the enemy.
so yeah, they like you said, they got their license in DC and they go back home thinking everything's good. Then they get woken up in the middle of the night by cops being like,
Yeah,
y'all in
man.
the bed together. I was like, man, the first time I saw this movie when it first came out, like around like 2017 or so, I remember thinking like, please don't make this take a dark turn. I don't know if I need to see this. Luckily, it didn't go that dark, or at least they
Yeah.
didn't show us that kind of stuff happened. But yeah, so of course they get thrown in jail, and Mildred has to stay longer than Richard for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And then they're forced to. It's about a mile away from the family home, right? Oh, no, no, that's the first house they built. The first house he builds,
Yeah.
it's a mile away from their family home, and that's the one they get woken up at.
No,
Um,
no.
and then
They don't he doesn't build that house until after the case is through. He never gets an opportunity.
he was working on a house though. Oh yeah, he bought the land,
He's
right?
work Yeah, he bought the
Because
land,
that's
but
what
he
he's
never
working
got
on
an
at the end. Got it, got it. So
yeah.
the
He's
house
been working on that's work that he's working on at all throughout the film.
got it. So they arrest him. Oh, they arrest him at Mildred's family's house, right? Because that's like
Yes.
we know because the sister's really mad at them when they have to leave. She's like, you know what you
Mhm.
did when you like took her to go get married. Because the whole thing was like, y'all didn't have to get married. Y'all could have
Yeah.
just been together and like everyone's cool. And I know some couples that are like that. Some couples that are like, we don't have to legally get married. We can just be together, be partners, and stuff like that. You know?
But the thing is, and like I get that, I understand that, but it's also for the fact that so she can has she can get his like social security and things like that. Without that, she would absolutely she'd get nothing upon if he died or something happened to him, or her having rights, whether he gets sick to call the shots at the hospital or whatnot, which actually it did mean something because I believe seven was it 6 or 7 years after the whole court case went through, he actually died in the car accident. So it's
Oh
just like
yeah.
if this didn't go through, she would have gotten absolutely nothing. And then
Mm.
also, if that house is in his name, then the government can take that house, and now she's shit out of luck. It's all of those little laws that come to fuck you in the end. And I understand people, like they don't get married or whatever. Like, yes, makes sense for you if whatever makes sense for you, but for certain protections, like it may make sense for you to be married, especially when kids are involved, because they do all sorts of wonky shit that can fuck you up.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like it's
everyone gets
like
fucked up. That's the beauty of America, baby.
but so like even with Paula and I, right? Like if we hadn't gotten married before Jackson was born, there would have been about like there'd have been a whole shit ton of hoops that we had to jump through for one Jackson to leave Finland to move back to the United States, getting citizenship in the United States, all sorts of things that would have happened. So it's just like, you know, you got to do what you got to do, you know. Not saying that's the only reason we got married, but you know what I'm saying. This is like, you know, it complicates a lot of things,
Oh
especially
yeah,
when kids
yeah.
are involved.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, man. You don't have to explain yourself or why you and the missus got married. You know,
Shut
I
up.
know. You know, I understand. I still remember we were actually talking about that the other day about your Ed Bush baby shower wedding. You know what I mean? Being like, I was like, oh, this nigga about to get married. I was like, we can't go out the back. It's crowded as fuck in this house, in this apartment. Someone guarded the
Yeah.
back door. I see a bunch of lights out that I didn't see last week when I was here. I was Everybody keeps
Ooh,
sneaking in the
fucking
bathroom, putting on suits and shit.
fucking Nancy Drew over here.
I had nothing else to do. I was in the corner because I mean, y'all had a great turnout. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like
Yeah, it wasn't
stuck
supposed
in
to
a
be like
space.
that.
How'd you not know? You had RSVPs.
No, nigga, you know how you invite people and you're just like, well, this nigga ain't gonna come, but you gonna put him on the list just to
Yeah,
be nice. Everybody showed up, Brandon.
it's your
Every
first kid.
person. Yeah, but still,
It's your first kid. And everybody who knows Justin Brown. I mean, folks, if you've been listening to this podcast a long time, you know what it was like pre Justin Daddy and post Justin Daddy, right? I don't like how I said that. I don't like it at all. Like, listen. We'll,
Nexia.
we'll clean it up in post. We'll clean it up in post. What I meant to say is we we all know how you've changed over time, right? And so
God.
you know, like
Oh
I'm
my
just saying,
God.
like when I learned that you were having a kid and stuff, I was like, oh well, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be wild seeing Justin's dad. So everyone's gonna show out and support him, man. Of course.
that whole series.
Yeah, that was a wild. I know. At least you and the
Holy
family don't
shit.
have to worry about someone bursting into your story apartment, be like, "What y'all doing together? Get out here now!"
Nigga, I'm telling you right now, if that happened to me, I'd be dead. Because I,
Yeah, because
yeah,
you be
because
trying to fight niggas like you did
yeah,
Raphael
nigga,
from.
I wake up into violence. Like you can't wait, you don't know, but you can't burst into the door on me like that. I wake up and I'm ready to go. I wake up swinging.
I
Shit, I
always
sometimes swing in my sleep.
I always think about like you remember that show Punked?
Yeah.
Okay, there was this one time when Seth Green, I think, got punked, and he was like at some casino, some fake casino or something like that.
Hmm.
And like Ashton Kutcher had like FBI agents and stuff busting it. They were saying like it's an illegal gambling ring or whatever. And I remember one dude like broke through, like one dude goes busting through the window, right? Like on
Uh-huh.
official FBI business and shit. I always
Yeah.
think about you, and I can never put this in a comedy because like the brother immediately gonna get killed. But I always think about you immediately, not even having the context of what's happening, immediately going to fight that guy. Like we're hanging out and it's something, some dude bursts through the window, you're immediately fighting them. You have no idea why they're there, who they're there to kill or attack or whatever. You're just down for like you're just down for business.
Well, Brandon, I think it also comes down to it's just like how close am I to that window? If that window's right behind me and somebody a glass breaks behind me, oh yeah. I mean, nigga, you're talking to the guy whose girlfriend tried to jump on his back one time, and I flipped this bitch over my shoulder in high school. I didn't know who she was. I just felt the
You pulled an
presence.
Ed
I
from
was,
Good Burger? You just
yeah,
flipped her
yeah.
over you? Oh no.
No, yeah, like I just felt somebody jump, like, and I just boom. Next thing I know, I look down. There she is, laying on the floor in front of me. Just
You should have said what Ed said in the movie. You were like, I'm sorry, I don't like sudden movements. Dude, I love that movie. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. But back
yeah,
to
because you're
Loving.
crazy.
So basically the sheriff tells Richard Loving like, hey, like there's no validity to your marriage in Virginia. And so they get, like I said, they get arrested and they're basically like forced to plead guilty. Like they're told like if you don't plead guilty, things will get really, really bad for y'all.
Oh, yeah, you're going to
They're
jail
gonna
for
have
a
to,
year.
yeah, gonna have to go to prison for a year.
But
So
then on the other end, so all right, you go to jail for a year, and then they're like, okay, we don't want that because she's also pregnant because that means that their child would she'd give birth to the child in prison, which then the child would automatically be taken into the system,
ward of the
so they would
state.
lose
Yep.
their child. Yeah. So then they're like, all right, she got to plead guilty, but pleading guilty would mean that you have to leave the state, so you're exiled from the state,
For
and you can't
25
come back
years.
for 25 years. How did a year turn to 25 years
I
sentence?
was
Like
wondering that too. Like,
what?
yeah, I was like, man, they're getting the Paddington treatment. Why the fuck are they? Why is this so long? 25 years.
Listen, if they
Virginia
said
ain't even worth like y'all ain't got that much popping. Where I'm like, damn, like just let. What do you care? I feel bad for
but
any
also,
person who listens from Virginia. Those episode. Somebody's like, damn, like we got stuff
well,
to
no.
do.
I
Want to
mean,
get
but
in
we're
here?
also hold on. We're also talking about 1958 Virginia. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they knew that Virginia in 1958 wasn't shit. Everybody, like come on now, like
But
why are they surprised?
I
We're
think
not
the
talking
one
about
thing.
Virginia now.
Yeah, but I also think the one thing I will admit that I don't think we're taking into account, and maybe we could touch on real quick, is
Mm,
I think being able to get up and move back then significantly different to being able to do that now.
yep,
You
yep,
know what I mean? So if you have roots and you have your work and you have all this stuff connected in 19, like you said, 1958ish or something like that, and you're being told immediately you have to leave the fucking state, not even this county, the state of
yeah,
Virginia, you have to leave and never come back for 25 years. Like if we
yeah,
catch foot of you, you're going to prison, basically.
yeah,
And yeah, that's a wild thing because like now it's like we were just in LA, right? So we were like, man, like we really could just come back. You know what I mean? We're like having serious conversations like we could just come back. You know,
yeah,
you don't have that privilege back then, especially with the like lack of stability. And this is back when like things are very traditional. Where Richard is the breadwinner. He's the guy like out there like making a check in, and Mildred, is not that this is forced upon her, but she's just at home. She's taking care of the house. She's getting making sure the baby's being taken care of and stuff like that. There's those traditional norms, so to speak, of the couple,
yeah,
right? And so it's not financially easy to do that, but they move to Washington. They're able to stay with a friend of Mildred because Mildred got the network. It seems like Richard's pretty estranged. Like he has his mom we see at some points, but that's about it, right? No, his dad
yeah.
pops up at the beginning. I think his dad was there at the beginning, right?
No,
Who's
it was
that?
her father.
Wasn't there an old white guy who was talking to him too? They're
No,
helping him.
I didn't say her
No,
father. It was only her
it might have
father.
been in the
We only
montage when
saw
he's
his
like
mother.
working and stuff. But okay, all right, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, no, that was just him working.
Got it.
We never saw his father
Yeah, because we see
involved in the
the
film.
we see the mom playing with the daughter with her granddaughter at the later on, like we mentioned, the brother drives up to the house in the
Mhm.
outskirts and he's freaking out. It's like, "Hey, get the baby in the house. like it's fucking Yellowstone. like they're coming back.
Go get the shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot to fucking deal with. You're like you're trying to start a family. You have to be estranged. Yeah. And also they do briefly return, right, for the birth because
Mhm.
the mom Richard's mom is the midwife. She's a midwife.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
she's able to help deliver the baby and then they immediately get arrested.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine like because the makeup they did on Ruth Negga, like she looked like a woman who just gave birth like a few days ago, if at most.
Yeah.
She all pale, she walking like like that. And this is back then in 1958. Did they have the diapers that they got now for women post birth?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't
Because
know.
there's so much that they provide women now after childbirth in
Yeah.
regards to treatment and stuff like that. Like, and she knows she's
I
gonna be
mean,
able to live longer than
that
him.
could have been, that could have killed her right there. And
Yeah,
which also shows the
Jesus.
lack of humanity in these men, in the sense of like, yo, she just had a baby and y'all gonna pull this shit right now. It's just
They don't
like,
give-
yeah, I know. Like
Yeah, they
that's
try to show the cop with like a little look of remorse on his face and stuff like that. But I'm like, mm, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I don't care. This cop is not a good person. Even if he has a modicum of remorse, he doesn't need to take her in. Who the fuck
yep.
is reporting them? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
who cares enough to
and
report this shit?
but here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing, Brandon. Anybody could be the people
I know
reporting them.
it's still
It could
happening
be
now.
the people at work.
Mhm.
It could be people at work. It could be a family who doesn't agree, and that could be black or white. Unfortunately, like this is the way people think, and people's hate, and they just don't. They it's so easy for people to dehumanize, you know, their neighbor, and it's
Yeah.
like how would you? I don't know. I don't know. Like this shit bothers me. It bothers me because also, you know,
Don't watch The Perfect
obviously,
Neighbor on Netflix then.
The Perfect Neighbor.
It's a
Oh, love that.
documentary. It's probably gonna win the best Oscar for best documentary. I've only watched a little
Hmm.
bit of it, and I've heard what it's about. Given what you just said, I don't think you should watch The Perfect Neighbor. And also given you know, it we're all going through it, you know, and so I
Mm.
don't wanna add more to your life, you know?
Listen, man, because it also comes down to is like, so my grandfather was very fair skinned, right?
Mhm.
My
Okay.
grandmother was more on the darker end.
Yeah.
So because of
They,
that
like, came together and
dynamic,
created you, brown sugar, baby.
yeah, I fucking want to punch you in the mouth. I got to get back to New York so I can hit you.
Brown sugar.
Uh,
Sorry.
um, so my grandfather was part Scottish.
Mm.
So when
Oh,
his family came into town, my grandmother had to go into another room. She had to go in the back room and not come out. Like that's the kind of bullshit that, you know, that it was the norm, and you know, and that was totally fine. But imagine being in your home and somebody telling you is like, hey, you gotta go in the other room because you know our parents are coming around, and you know they don't want to see you because they don't agree with that shit.
yeah. I mean, our producer just reminded us in the chat. You know, Trevor Nova's parents were like that. He literally has a book called like "Born Illegal" or something like that, or you know, something of that nature. And then, yeah, I mean, like we were talking earlier about gay marriage. That was a whole thing. You know, I know people that like had to go into the other room or pretend that they were roommates instead of partners and things like that.
Yep.
It's crazy what a a set of supposed rules and guidelines written by old white men centuries ago, how much that's still impacting people's ability to just live free in this country.
Yeah.
And there and people are so sacred about it that there can be no real, especially now, there can be no real authentic, genuine conversation about, do we really need this shit? Do we
Yeah.
really need this shit? Or can we at least change it so it's not insane and alienating and people don't weaponize it against people that don't look like them? Because that's been happening this whole fucking time. And then people wonder why there's so much resentment from people of color, especially the black community. And when it comes to
Yeah.
American history and stuff, it's like, well, if y'all stop trying to omit us from it, but then also stop trying to make our fucking lives miserable, where all we're trying to do is live in peace. Because that's,
Yep.
I think, one of the most powerful scenes in this movie is when Richard's out with his brother-in-law and you know, 4 other guys. I don't know if they're for the construction working or you know, just a neighborhood hang and stuff, right?
They're the
And
drag
yeah.
racing guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then the one guy is like, "Oh, well, Richard, you know what it's like to be black now. You fucking idiot. Like we all would kill to be in your shoes, but you want to be around us and hanging out and dealing with this bullshit." Because he's basically saying
He's
because of
like,
your court case and the harassment you're facing, you kind of know what it's almost like to be black.
yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
like this is what it's like. Which then also you could see that Richard's kind of just like, fuck, what did I do? Yeah, I think that's I think like I think what they were trying to portray with that scene is like maybe that's at that point where he was saying to himself where he kind of regretted it because you know it is a lot to take on, which I which you know what I don't even I don't I wouldn't blame him because that's a ton of shit, and now you're going to battle with the Supreme Court over
yeah,
this, and like and you know and on top of that he's fearful at every single
yeah,
turn.
he's really
It's a
paranoid at that
lot.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
So
know, that scene works for me on a bunch of different levels because you can interpret it as that way. You can interpret it as, you know, because the guy is ultimately closest with like, you could just divorce her. Just divorce. It's fucking over.
yeah,
Just do that. And so you see Joe Edgerton, a lot of different feelings on his face, and him like, you know, really taking a moment to contemplate what's just been said, and like, you know, he even joking like, yeah, divorce her. And you know, you see the brother kind of looking at him like, are you like taking this seriously? Like, but then ultimately, like at the end of the day, Richard's like, I love this woman. I thought it was such a beautiful moment. And we'll talk about Nick Kroll because I think Nick Kroll almost torpedoes this movie. But when he tells Nick Kroll, like, because they're about to present to the Supreme Court, so the lawyer's like to Richard, "What would you like me to say on behalf of?" on your behalf to the Supreme Court, the highest court.
Yeah.
Because remember, the two lawyers that are helping out, they're all about, being able to present to the Supreme Court's the highest honor in the land or whatever the fuck. That's how it used to be thought back in the day.
Yeah.
Y'all seen the polls, y'all know how people feel. Anyways, and Richard, aka Joe Edgerton, is like, just tell him I love my wife. And I was like, man, it's beautiful.
Well, also
what I
think
mean?
about
Like,
the fact. Think about this. Like he was just like, he's like their defense is gonna be like, oh, the defense is gonna be about your kids. Like, what do you mean defense? How's the defense our kids? It's like they're gonna say that they're bastards. That that it's unfair to have such like that. He's just like, I ain't going then. And I knew exactly what he meant. The reason he ain't going, he's just like, because I ain't gonna sit up there and have somebody talk about my kids, and I ain't gonna pop off.
yeah,
And it was
man. I
like,
mean,
yeah,
he thoroughly thought about it. Unlike Tom Brady, sorry, because I don't know. I was just talking to some people about Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady did an interview recently, I guess, where he said like, "Oh, when Giselle was divorcing me, that really fucked up my season." It's like, all right, nigga, before you sign back up for another season, it was an open secret apparently on all the gossip pages. Giselle told you if you sign up for the NFL after saying you were going to retire, I'm going to divorce you. You signed up. She divorced you. That was going to be a rough year for you, bro. Like, what are you talking about? And so then also, like, before that, he said, "Oh, mate, I really should have thought about that roast because I didn't know how it was going to impact my kids." I'm like, you have some of the biggest stars in the world talking shit about you. You didn't think your wife was going to come up and that might
oh
impact your
yeah.
family dynamic? Who's
I mean,
managing
other
you?
than the, other than the fact is like everybody was right. She did fucking
Yeah.
her jujitsu instructor, and they got a kid now.
It's really dark. What if that was the night that kid got conceived?
I mean,
Anyways,
who never knows? Who never knows? No,
get
I
real
mean
dark.
that was a minute ago.
Yeah.
That was like 2 years
Ultimately,
ago.
who ironically helped get this case to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, when it initially was rejected. Their court case was, petition was rejected. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy.
Yes, yes, yes.
The fucking legacies we leave, right?
Mm-hmm. And now we have his fucking son running out of here, fucking eating fucking alligator carcasses and shit. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
I listened to a podcast. It was a revered, like, it's a reputable podcast from a publication, like might have been from the Atlantic or Washington Post or something. It's a reputable publication. I'll try to find the episode and post it on Patreon if anything. Someone like a revered doctor with lots of credentials, and is published in a lot of scholarly articles, blah blah blah. He was asked about RFK Jr.'s voice. He's like, that that comes from nothing but excessive drug use. That is not a vaccine thing. That's not. He's like,
Yes.
that's from drug use. That's not everything he says about the reason behind that is bullshit.
Yes, of course.
He's like, have you ever heard anyone actively talk like Skeletor? Even Mark Hamill.
Man.
Fucking Skeletor, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
When
bro.
I saw
I
that, I was
mean,
like, that's insane.
yeah, the fact that like RFK was the person that put it's like that actually contacted the ACLU. That was just like, hey, y'all should work on this.
Mhm.
That, I mean, but that's also like, it just shows how much the world has changed and how small the world seemed at that time as opposed to where we're at now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you don't have access to those. I mean, like, yes, you do have more access because you can tweet somebody, you could do this, but it's just like, yeah, they're not they're they're not being like, I think you should do this. Like, nah.
No. And so the lawyers are working on the case to be able to get it to a position where it could go all the way to the Supreme Court and hopefully overturn the anti, interracial marriage laws that are in place across the nation, not even just in Virginia, right?
Well, but then he had, hold on, he had the gall, Nick Kroll I know we're gonna get into Nick Kroll in a second, but he had the goal of just like, so I think the best way we do and we bring this about is by we're gonna take you guys to Virginia and you're gonna get arrested. And they're just like, no, no. Like we have fucking 3 kids. It's like
Yeah,
like
at this point, they
what?
had a bunch of kids, yeah. One of them gets hit by a car,
Yeah,
which at first I thought was like, "Oh, Jesus, they lose a kid?" And then
I know.
he
That's the
he
same thing
comes
I
home from
thought.
work, and she's so casual about it. She's like, "Oh, yeah, Junior got hit by a car. He fine, though. He got little scratches and bruises." I was like,
Nigga,
in 1960. You just get hit with a car.
nigga.
Your mom's like, "Let me get some soap for you, baby. You're gonna be okay. Don't worry about the
And
protruding bone."
this is not cars today. These
Yeah.
cars, bumpers made of absolute steel.
Yeah,
And
dude, they'll
like
hit you
those
like the
cars were
fucking Nolan
rolling.
Batmobile. Fucking knock you into the pavement, man.
It's like the Wayne's brothers opening. Flying in the air.
Yo, I met a guy who said he was on the WB lot and they had the Nolan Batmobile, I guess. He said,
Mhm.
dude, it's bigger than the fucking tank. He's like, it's insane when you see
Nigga,
it in person.
I was on set with
Oh,
it.
yeah, you were on set. Is it that
Yeah,
big?
they were
Is it really
fucking.
that big?
It's not.
Oh, those were like
It's
the
like a
other ones though,
minivan.
right? Those were like
The
the
tumblers.
replicas and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. It's like a big ass minivan.
Okay.
It's like a big ass, but like the sloping and things like that. Yeah, if you get hit by that, you're fucked. You're fucked. It's a no. It's a last day for you.
Yeah. So I love how Mildred was just like, "Oh, he's gonna be okay, baby, but I gotta move back to the country." She's like, "We're leaving DC," which is gotta like be like one of those, happy wife, happy life type of things. And it's just like,
Yeah,
she's like, "I'd rather get arrested than have to worry about city life." Not that like you couldn't get hit by a car in the country, but sure. I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
I
you
guess
could
they
be
just
hit
weren't
by
fans
other
of
things.
dynamics and stuff too. It wasn't much
Well,
better in the city than it was in the country.
I mean, they're also living in the hood in DC,
Mm,
and
yeah,
there's yeah, and and like crammed the small houses all close to each other.
yeah,
She wasn't built for that. She grew up in like wide open spaces where her
yeah.
kids could sit and play around. They don't have to worry about you
Mm.
know getting slammed by a car. Every fucking 2 minutes.
I mean, I understand. I mean, we both like talked about that when looking at like houses and things like that. You got to be mindful, like where your kid can run. I
Yeah,
mean, you got a more. I mean, we both have kind of intense situations at our house because my, you know, hypothetical kid runs out the front door. The street's right there where like cars don't give a fuck.
yeah,
They'll just fuck. And you got the corner
yeah.
house. So
Yeah, I got the crossroads, and the side road is a really big road. And
yeah.
people come flying down that shit, and they get into accidents all the fucking time.
Oh, really?
So yeah, yeah, I'm fucking accident central. I'm just waiting for somebody's ass to come through that fucking car to come through my fence. And when that happens, oh baby, I'm getting a new fence.
I just hope that you have quick reflexes like fucking Peter Parker and Spider Man too. Just which I listened to that episode again a few days ago. We really made a like good point about Doc at that point doesn't know that Peter Parker's Spider Man, so he's really taking a gamble just throwing a car through that window straight at their
What the
faces.
fuck, Doc?
And like you just see like the dead bodies of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. He's just like, ooh, I might overplay my head on this one. All right, Harry, who
Yeah.
else you got? What other leads you got?
Don't hurt MJ. He throws a car at the bitch.
He really did. Okay, Michael Shannon showing up as the Life magazine profiler,
Yeah,
photographer for like, as they're getting ready for the case and their case starts getting a lot of widespread attention because it's the 60s. Everyone's fucking interracial, coitus and all that stuff is being more accepted, especially with the season of love and stuff like that. And so Michael Shannon just popping up though on the property, acting like I was a man. He acting real entitled right now, being on another man's property. He's like, "Is your wife in the house? All right, cool." Like I'm like, "Bro, who the fuck are you?" Richard's looking at him like,
well, no, they told him. I
"I
mean,
know, but
also
still, the way
you
he came
you
in though
had
was very, hey nigga,
I mean, you had to know. You had to know that they were there to actually find where that place was. They didn't even
mm,
have a phone out there,
yeah, that's
like
right,
they were
yeah."
really off the grid. They're off the grid, which also, see, me couldn't do it because
No,
if I ain't got a phone, that means that if something happens, I can't get in contact with anybody.
bro. I'm not gonna say which family member, but we have a family member who's about to
Mm,
move to bumfuck Michigan, where there's gonna be like the closest I think they said like in regards to attraction and stuff that they could do is go to a Walmart, and that's about 45 minutes away. Um,
mm-mm.
they're near the beach, but it's only habitable during the summer because it's upstate Michigan. Yeah. Yeah, we asked that question of the family member. We're like, "Hey, what are you gonna do if things get a little dicey up there, as a person of color? Like,
Yeah,
who are you gonna call? Can you even get an Uber up there?" And they're like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay. I'll tell you offline more, but there's a lot more concerning details that I'm not sharing on this public podcast." It's
well, you know
terrifying.
what,
Like,
and of course, these people are not a sponsor of us, but they need to get like a cell phone service that also they can use satellite.
oh yeah, like what they use in
Yeah,
Jurassic
like
World?
T-Mobile has it and shit like that.
Okay.
T-Mobile, they have a satellite service and everything.
How much is that though?
No, it's with your plan. You can switch
Oh.
to satellite if you're in remote areas.
Mm.
They need to make sure they have that feature,
Do
with their
do they
service.
have that feature on Obama phones? Because that's what she has.
Obama phones?
Like the government issue phones. That's what they call them, Obama phones. Because he's the one that started that program. Apparently, I don't even know
I
if that's
never heard of
true.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never heard of that.
yeah, it's a term. I don't know why I said Obama phones. I don't even know the
Yeah, nigga, because you just said Trump Mobile to me.
no, but that's like what the
Hmm.
people call them. Like this family member, she's like, "Oh, I have an Obama phone." You
Okay,
know,
I never heard of that
but
shit.
yeah, I've heard a few other people that like get the government hookup. They call them Obama phones, which is wild because he hasn't been in
Okay,
office in like fucking 10 years. It's crazy.
that's wild. Actually, yes, it's actually 10 years now.
Has it been? Oh my god, man, that breaks my heart. 10 years since I was last happy. I'm
Well,
joking.
actually, no, because I guess 2017 is when Trump
Yeah,
took over.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah. Like our friend Chris Lambert said, it was like the day that Scar took over Pride Land. Um,
oh, ICE is the fucking hyenas.
holy shit, Chrissy
Big
Noma's
Crit.
fucking. Honestly, Trump would be the realest nigga alive if he performed "Be Prepared" at the White House. It would make so much sense, dude. It'd be anyways.
Yeah, but the
Um,
crazy thing is, if he did that, he'd have shit in his pants when he was doing it. Anyhow, let's keep going.
yeah. So the state Supreme Court refuses to set aside the Loving's conviction, but then the lawyers played by Nick Kroll and that other dude who's been in a bunch of random movies like the Baywatch movie and stuff like that, John Bass. Oh yeah, he was in She-Hulk. Oh yeah, he was the villain in She-Hulk. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Um, they're able to appeal to the federal Supreme Court. And then that's when I said to the scene earlier where Cohen, the lawyer Cohen, who was played by Nick Kroll, asked Richard if he has message for justices. And Richard says, "Tell the judge I love my wife." And then
Yeah.
weeks later, we get this beautiful scene where Ruth Negga's character, Mildred, she gets a call on the phone. Um, wait, how is she able to get a call on the phone? Did they get a phone installed in the house? I
I
just thought
guess
about
so.
that. They never
Well, I
explained
guess
that.
so, but yeah, I guess so. But I mean, again, this is also how many years later?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're back in Virginia. They're in a remote area. I wonder with the I bet you probably they were able to put a phone. Except because with the live profile, the cat's out the bag now, and they probably couldn't actually be put in jail while the case was pending or something like
Yeah,
that. So they probably were
but
able to get a phone put in.
yeah, but likely
I
it's
know.
going to be one of
Yeah.
those things. It's like, God forbid, if you lose, oh, y'all going to prison.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically like what the consultant guy, like, the John Bass character tells Nick Kroll. He's like, "We can roll this dice, but there's a good chance your clients do go to jail."
Yeah,
But I think what I loved about Mildred and Ruth Negga's portrayal of her is that she plays it where it's like, yes, this is important. I love my husband, but also she sees how how many other people could benefit from that them winning their case.
Yes.
Other
Yeah.
people in their situation, her children and stuff, like that. No one wants to have to tell their kids that they can't love who they love or express that
Yeah.
openly. You don't want ever,
Hmm.
you don't. That's what I'm like so like insane about with like people that are against gay marriage or interracial marriage or any of the stuff that brings other people happiness that doesn't bother you at all. Like, just don't fucking. It's like, how dare you tell another person how they can't live who they can't love, how they can express that love? I mean, obviously there's a decorum and stuff like that, but it's just, and how dare you want that for other people's children? It's
No,
just crazy, man.
when
But
people have these lofty ideals
yeah,
and they feel like this is against decency and against
uh,
God, that makes them feel like they can do and say whatever they want, which is
yeah.
obviously a huge issue.
But so weeks later, we get, like I said, a beautiful scene with Ruth Negga playing Mildred, where she gets a phone call that the Supreme Court unanimously holds that laws prohibiting interracial marriage are unconstitutional. She has this sweet scene where she comes out while Joe Edgerton's like working on stuff, and he's and the kids are playing about and stuff, and then she smiles at him. And then we do a crossfade. We learn that they return back to Caroline County, and they continue construction on their dream house. And as you mentioned earlier, an epilogue reveals that Richard died in a car crash 7 years later from a drunk driver. Which, when I see stuff like that, and I think about, did you ever see 6 Feet Under?
Yeah.
Do you remember the series finale?
No.
So the
Give me a
series
minute.
finale. So every episode of 6 Feet Under open with a death, and then it would talk about like
Hmm.
that body and what happens at the funeral home with the family, right? The series finale, the last 10 minutes, I think was one of the most beautiful 10 minutes ever put on TV, which is you watch all the family members and how they die. And
Mm.
so there's the gay couple, David, and I'm blanking on, I think maybe his partner's name was Gary or something like that. Gary is a black man. They have like they're an interracial couple, and they adopt two black sons. Gary is killed abruptly because he's like security, so he's like doing like the bank security thing, coming out the truck, and he gets assassinated, right, and the truck gets robbed, and then like it cuts to his funeral and stuff like that, and it just made me think like you never know where you're gonna go, when you're gonna go, how you're gonna go, and it's just important to always like I'm like I really like that hit me like when I saw that epilogue today, watching this, it really hit me to be like I really had to prioritize every day telling people I love them, telling people I really
Mm.
care about that I love them, that I'm thinking about them. It's like that. I think that's really important, including you, you fucking son of a bitch. Like I just want to do that more. You know what I mean?
Me?
Fucking
I don't
psychopath.
even call me a son of a bitch. Jesus Christ.
But I really do because I'm sure Richard was just out, maybe out work, maybe he like was headed home. We don't know the circumstances, right? But like just gets killed by a drunk driver. And that's in
Yeah.
the story. And like, Mildred, we learned never remarried and she continued living in the house that he built until she died in 2008. And like her last quote was like, I miss him a lot and he took care of me.
Yeah.
And, it's just it's tough because when couples are together for a long time, they've been through a lot of shit, like the way that this couple has, my grandfather obviously has dementia and stuff like that, but you know, I remember how sad he was when my nana passed, and like they were together
Mm.
since they knew each other since they were kids and got together like after high school. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just that's tough. That's tough, especially like when it happens. I imagine it's even tougher when it happens abruptly, right? At least when my nana passed, like her health was deteriorating, so we kind of knew what to expect. But with that one,
Yeah.
that's tough, you know.
I mean, but I also think that like there's no way that you can really prepare. Even though you prepare yourself, you're never prepared to lose somebody, a loved one in that sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's different from you guys break up and whatnot. Because they're still out there. But when somebody died, the finality of it, like, oh, I will never ever see this person again, and like there's no well wishes for them because they're no longer on this plane of existence, like that must be really tough, you know but that's
100%.
why I'm gonna die first, so I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah, before we get to some letterbox reviews that Justin pulled, actually our producer Lluvia pulled, but Justin's gonna read them
Yes,
for
she
you.
did.
The box office for this movie was $12.96 million and had a budget of $9 million. Initially, our producer Lluvia put just $12.96 for the box
How dare
office,
she?
which I was like, whoa. And then I
One
clarified it
person?
all like, yeah, because I was just like, yeah, that wasn't even one person. That's like a discounted Tuesday matinee. This- one ticket, please. Aren't you Joe Edgerton? Aren't you in this movie? Yeah. So, like I said, the film competed in the adapted screenplay category because much of the dialogue came from a documentary that this is based off of, The Loving Story, that came out in 2011. Oh, so that was a pretty quick from that documentary being released to them being adapted into a film. Um,
Yeah.
Mildred Loving had African American, Native American ancestry and preferred to be known as Native American, actually. Okay.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, it was the first feature film screened at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. All right. And then last but not least, Peggy Loveling is the only surviving child of Mildred and Richard Loving. Damn. All right. Well, Justin, read
Well,
our letterbox reviews.
you
What we
know,
got?
unfortunately, us dumb men, we don't last too long in this world. Um, so we have a review from number one Gizmo fan. It says,
All right.
"Tell the judge I love my wife." And then they wrote, "Is Michael Shannon a real person? Can he be my dad? Can I fall in love, please?" I think they're they got the wrong person, but fair enough. I understand what they mean. Up next, we have Clownhead. Tell the judge Jeff Nichols keeps putting me to sleep.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I mean, his
Okay.
movies are a different flavor. Like, he does Take Shelter is a weird movie. Mud with Matthew McConaughey was kind of odd. Like, he's not everyone's cup of tea. I think his last movie was The Bike Riders, which no one saw. So,
Yeah. Oh, I actually forgot to give you how many stars on that. Whatever. Next one, we're going to Jack. Jack, 1 star. Every time Nick Kroll moved his face, I expected him to shout "Douche Nation" and play a sound clip of a clip of a toilet flushing. Yeah, it was hard to take Nick Kroll
he wasn't
seriously.
great. He wasn't great. There's something about the way that he just performed. Like, I don't know, man. I've seen him in a few things that are not quite straight comedies, and I just never buy him. It's weird. He does a lot of work with John Mulaney, and John Mulaney is really good at it. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but John Mulaney's able to seamlessly like go between comedy and drama and stuff. Like, because John Mulaney randomly popped up on The Bear a few times, and you're like, oh, okay, and then he'll pop up in a movie, and you're like, yeah, John Mulaney, but like he can be, I don't know, it just doesn't work. Nick Kroll did not work for me, and like I said, it damn near he's not in it enough for him to have torpedoed the movie, but when he pops on screen, it's like if Tim Robinson played that role. You know what I mean? It's just not a good fit. Like, maybe he's interested, like, the actor's like, I want to play this role, it's something different, but it just doesn't work. Like, he just looks goofy. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. He looks odd.
There's a goofy smugness to him, and it's kind of off putting. All right,
Yeah,
up
when him and
next,
the other lawyer got together, it gave me like Jonah Hill and like Michael Cera vibes. Like, it was like, is this about to be a comedy? Like, these two lawyers together?
Up next, we have a review from Angel. It's so revolting what people do in the name of racism. Impossible to watch this movie and not feel anger, but at the same time believe that love is so pure and beautiful. And 3.5 stars.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing. Like, this movie, very much like they said, pissed me off, but also gave me feels at the same time.
Yeah, everybody
Because
should
you
have
know what?
feels.
To go through all that kind of shit, you have to, and this is on both ends of the spectrum, whether it's, um, whichever loving you're talking about, husband or wife, you have to really love that person. Because, yeah, if not, you're going to be out. And unfortunately, a lot of people were out in these times.
If you're gonna be somebody, if you're gonna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Why do you try to join when you know you got a lag in your LA internet? Why do you always do this?
First of all, it's your internet. It's not mine. It's your internet. Up next, we have Russman. writes rejected sequel ideas, McLoving.
Hey,
3 stars. Okay.
hey,
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. McLoving it. I hate them.
you sound like Black Sideshow Bob just now. Break down our race system, baby.
Ooh, stop calling me baby. Guys, you know how we do this. We read movies back to popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Brandon, we sat down, we watched the 2016 film Loving. What say you, sir?
Yeah, this gets a large. This gets a large. I thought it was well acted. Ruth Negga actually got an Academy Award nomination for this. And like I said, besides Nick Kroll's goofy ass popping up, and he played it straight. Like he didn't do anything egregious on screen. It was just weird. And just never bought him as the character. I will say, at 123 minutes, it does run a little bit long. I think this could be like a tight 95, probably. Because there's like a lot of long scenes with the Lovings, together and like getting to be like really getting to sit in the relationship and observe and see why these two, have so much love for each other. But they are both very quiet people. And I think that that's probably why it didn't get, Joe Edgerton especially didn't get any recognition for his performance, really, besides the Golden Globe nomination. I think that's what also hurt him for Train Dreams. He's a very quiet actor, but he's very
Yeah.
expressive with his eyes, with his body language. And so, that's not to discount like how great the two actors are together. I do want to take a quick moment to shout out an old fan. Maybe they still listen to the podcast, but I don't even remember who they are. And I blocked them on Twitter. And I blocked them on Twitter because when this movie came out, it's the Trump, presidency was just starting, racial tensions were very, very high and stuff like that. And this guy, like, I always tweeted at me about movies, because I was doing all these like podcasts stuff on movies. And Loving came up, and he said, and I forgot what I said in response to him asking about if I'd seen Loving, and I was like, blah blah blah, and he was like, oh yeah, I was curious about that nigga girl, and I thought that he was like, calling her the N word, so I was just like, oh, I don't have time for racist bullshit, so I blocked him. And then it turned out her actual name was Ruth Negga. So I want to apologize to that person. I don't know if you're still out there. Hit me up on Instagram if you're still around. That's on me. I mean, maybe
You
you
can
are
just
racist.
you can find your
I don't know who it
your
is.
block.
Oh no, no.
Okay,
I'm
fair
like I don't even I barely do anything on X. Everything's scheduled. I don't even think I know my password. But yeah. All right. It's not the same person, Lluvia, that was asking about Legends of the Falls. That was a crazy fan that we finally tried to appease. I never had someone say liar several times a month to me just because we didn't do a Legends of the Fall, which actually turned out to be a pretty fun movie. I mean, it was a fun movie, but it was a good movie. Anyways, Justin, what's your rating on Loving?
The fuck, Brandon.
I just had to take the time to shout out that fan because I was like, oh man.
It's funny because I've gotten a fan who came and is just like, y'all spewing that liberal bullshit on your podcast. I'm just like, what the fuck? Then stop listening. Yeah, I'm giving this a large as well. Like I thought it was a really good film. I actually liked some of those longer scenes with just the two of them. Because I think they let it linger in some senses, which really played up some of the tension, and which I don't think that they played a lot of tension between the two of them, but they kind of gave you the feel like there was tension, but like how they kind of ate it for for the sake of their relationship and their kids and things like that, which that seems about right. Yeah, so definitely a large for me.
Cool. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our review on Loving. As always, you can follow the show at Medium Pete Podcast on all social media platforms, youtube.com/Medium Popcorn Podcast. Push that subscribe button so you get alert about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the channel. And personally, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. That's where I'm at most of the days. FrodoBlackens.com for show dates for Drunk Black History and other shows I'm doing around the city and New Jersey and stuff like that. And Justin, if people want to follow you, how can they do that as well as support the show financially, baby?
Stop calling me baby, Brandon. My young son. Anyhow, guys, you you guys can follow me at J Brown Did on all the social media platforms. But you guys can also support this show, follow this show on Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog is on Patreon. So if you're looking for a particular episode, guess where it is? Patreon.com/medium popcorn.
There you have it, everybody. Chitty chitty bang bang. Everybody get a ring ring.
In
All
your
right, y'all.
face.
Yep. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Peace.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if